Clark Show, baby. Caitlin Clark did it again. Shirt and tie. Because damn it, we mean business. We meant business today versus the New York Liberty. We got bone.
Nobody walks into a building full of championship banners and just takes it over. Nobody, except the one player the whole league was about to watch make history. This was supposed to be the night a veteran powerhouse taught a young star a hard lesson. Instead, it turned into the night that same young star rewrote the rules of the entire sport in front of a stunned crowd. The New York Liberty rolled and loaded. Former MVPs, championship shooters, and a wall of size in the paint built to shut down exactly the kind of speed and range this young guard brings to the floor. On paper, it looked like a mismatch waiting to happen. The size was there. The experience was there. The game plan was locked and loaded. What nobody in that arena planned for was a generational talent who was about to throw the whole script out the window, shrug off some seriously questionable coaching decisions, and take the entire game over with her bare hands. What happened on that court was not a normal basketball game. It was a full-blown statement. A live demonstration of basketball IQ so far ahead of everyone else in the building that no scheme, no rotation, and no coaching mistake could slow it down once it got rolling. The opening minutes told the story New York wanted to tell. Their defensive plan was obvious from the very first possession. Bump her early, trap her off every screen, use size and physicality to throw off her rhythm before she ever got comfortable. Their forwards clogged the passing lanes like safeties reading a quarterback, while their guards stayed glued to her hip, daring her to force a pass into traffic or settle for a tough, contested look. The crowd noise was intense, and for a few minutes, the trap actually looked like it was working. The offense looked stiff. Shots weren't falling. New York's length in the paint had things locked down tight. But here's the thing about a truly elite competitor. Every bump, every trap, every double team wasn't rattling her. It was information. She was quietly reading every single coverage, filing it away, waiting for the exact moment to flip the whole game on its head. And strangely enough, the toughest opponent that night wasn't even wearing the other jersey. It was sitting on her own bench. The coaching decisions from the Indiana sideline left fans, analysts, and even her own teammates completely baffled. Instead of unleashing the blazing transition speed that makes this offense so dangerous, the staff kept calling for slow, grinding half-court sets, which is exactly the kind of basketball New York's defense eats for breakfast. Timeouts came at the strangest possible moments, killing momentum right when the offense was starting to find a groove. Shooters got pulled off the floor right as the spacing opened up, choking the whole offense back into the paint. You could feel the frustration building in the stands as questionable rotations kept handing free possessions right back to a Liberty team that was more than happy to cash in on every mistake. That is exactly when the entire night flipped. Realizing that following the game plan from the sideline was a one-way ticket to a blowout loss, she took the game into her own hands. Grabbing a defensive rebound, she waved off the slow-it-down signals from the bench, pushed the ball up the floor at full speed, and pulled up from nearly 35 feet without blinking. Nothing but net. The gym went quiet for a split second before it erupted. On the very next trip down, she sold a head fake that froze her defender in place, drove into the paint, and whipped a no-look, behind-the-back pass through 3 defenders to set up an easy bucket. At that point, she wasn't running the point guard position anymore. She was running the entire show, overriding cautious play calling, and turning the game into pure, high-speed chaos that New York simply had no answer for. The second half turned into pure theater. New York threw everything they had at her. Switching, blitzing, dropping into a zone to protect the paint. None of it mattered. She was locked into that rare zone where the game slows all the way down for one player while everyone else is just trying to keep up. Pressure up close. She blew right past it and finished through contact at the rim. Sag off to stop the drive. She buried logo threes that had the opposing coaching staff throwing their hands in the air. Every single touch had the crowd rising out of their seats, waiting to see what came next. Cross-court passes threaded through impossible windows. Bounce passes that set up easy buckets inside. Numbers piling up that honestly looked more like a video game than real basketball. The so-called super team that showed up to teach a lesson was now the one looking lost, searching for answers that simply weren't there. What made it even more incredible was the tug-of-war happening on the sidelines during every break. While the coaching staff scrambled to draw up rigid sets on the clipboard, she was already in the huddle, running her own version of the meeting, pointing out defensive breakdowns and calling the actual plays her team was about to run. It was a strange, tense scene. A young superstar fighting not just an elite opponent, but a coaching approach that felt stuck a decade in the past. And yet, even with that disconnect threatening to give away a big lead, the brilliance on the floor simply refused to be stopped. It was leadership forged out of pure necessity, proof that real difference makers don't wait around for permission. They just go take it. By the fourth quarter, New York looked rattled. All that early physicality that seemed so effective at the start had completely backfired, lighting a fire under the entire building instead. Their star guard tried to answer with big shots of her own, but every single response from New York was met with an even bigger counterpunch. This wasn't just about racking up points anymore. It was about breaking the other team's will completely. With under 3 minutes left and the game still hanging in the balance, she delivered the final dagger. Off a scrambled, broken possession, she scooped up a loose ball, stepped back from well beyond the arc with a hand right in her face, and let it fly just as the shot clock hit 0. Nothing but net. Let extended. Game, basically, over. When the final buzzer sounded, the numbers on the scoreboard confirmed exactly what everyone had just witnessed live. Records fell. Defensive reputations took a serious hit. And a message had been sent that nobody in that building was going to forget anytime soon. She had just single-handedly dismantled one of the most talented rosters in the entire league, delivered a performance people will be talking about for years, and did it all while working around some genuinely head-scratching decisions from her own bench. The conversation afterward wasn't about matchups or defensive schemes anymore. It was about the simple fact that a new level of greatness had just officially arrived. And it leaves you wondering just how far this player can go once everything around her finally lines up the way it should. Was this one incredible night a flash of individual brilliance? Or did we all just watch the balance of power in women's basketball shift for good, live, right in front of us? Because what happened on that court goes way beyond one win on the schedule. It exposed a massive gap between old-school, rigid coaching philosophies and the fast, modern style of play that's taking over basketball right now. For years, slow, controlled half-court basketball was treated like gospel. But nights like this prove that real magic happens when a genuinely elite mind is given the freedom to just play. The conversation around this team keeps growing louder by the day, with fans and analysts debating coaching decisions, rotations, and just how much creative freedom a generational talent should be given. And fans everywhere are demanding the same thing. Let the offense fly. Speed, spacing, unselfish ball movement. Not more conservative, watered-down play calling. Every time the ball touched her hands, it was obvious the game had slowed down for her in a way it just hasn't for most other players. What looks like total chaos to everyone watching from the outside is crystal clear geometry in her head. When defenders tried jumping passing lanes, a quick eye fake froze them in place before a no-look pass sailed right past them. When guards tried grinding her down with physical off-ball defense, she just ran them through screen after screen until they had nothing left in the tank. This isn't only about pure talent. It's an almost unfair understanding of angles, timing, and pace that lets one single player completely control the rhythm of a 40-minute basketball game, no matter who's lined up across from her. The reaction across the basketball world was instant. Media personalities, retired legends, current players, everybody had something to say. And the takeaway was the same across the board. You simply cannot coach against that kind of instinct. Longtime players pointed out how rare it is to see someone this young command that much control on the floor, overriding calls, resetting teammates on the fly, and doing it all at an incredibly high level under enormous pressure. The relationship between player-driven decision-making and traditional coaching structure has become the biggest storyline surrounding this team. And if the coaching staff can't keep pace with the explosive style their franchise player brings every single night, that tension is eventually going to force some real, lasting change. Think about the sheer weight resting on the shoulders of a young athlete carrying this much visibility for an entire league. Every turnover gets magnified. Every missed rotation gets picked apart. Every awkward moment on the sideline gets analyzed by millions of people looking for cracks. And despite all of that pressure, the performance on the floor stayed locked in and dominant. Taking down a stacked, championship caliber roster like this one, and completely breaking their defensive spirit in the process, takes a level of mental toughness most players never come close to reaching. It showed everyone watching that underneath the highlight reel threes and viral passes is a genuinely ruthless competitor who only gets more dangerous when the stakes go up. As the season keeps rolling, every opponent left on the schedule is going to study this film closely. Defensive coaches everywhere are going to lock themselves in film rooms trying to crack a formula that actually slows this down. They'll try harder traps. They'll try box-and-one looks. They'll try full court pressure the second the ball is inbound. But if this one night proved anything, it's that standard defensive answers just don't work against a player who treats every single coverage like an easy puzzle to solve. The bigger question going forward isn't really how other teams adjust. It's whether her own coaching staff can adapt fast enough to make the most of a talent this rare. And the fans have already made their feelings loud and clear. Arenas are setting attendance records night after night, with people traveling across the country just to witness this in person. The energy inside these buildings feels like something out of the biggest eras in basketball history, where literally every possession feels like it could turn into a moment everyone's talking about the next morning. The appetite for this fast, electric style of basketball has never been higher, and any decision that slows that down gets called out instantly by a fan base that isn't shy about speaking up. The tide has officially turned, and the expectations are now sitting at championship level, whether the coaching staff is fully ready for that or not. Looking back at that fourth quarter stretch, you can point to the exact moment New York's spirit finally broke. It wasn't just one three-pointer or one flashy assist. It was a 3-minute run of pure basketball perfection, a defensive rebound in traffic, a full-court pass delivered with pinpoint accuracy for an easy transition score, a steal on the very next defensive possession, and then a cold-blooded pull-up three from way downtown that brought the entire building to its feet. That stretch alone didn't just win a game. It completely rewrote what people believe is possible for a young team stepping into the ring against a loaded, veteran-heavy roster full of decorated stars. The ripple effects from this performance are going to stick around for the rest of the season and shape the direction of this franchise for years to come. Front offices around the league are already taking notes on how player-driven offense is changing the entire game. The debate around coaching fit, offensive pace, and who really controls the direction of the team is only going to get louder as the playoffs get closer. When a superstar can push her game to an entirely different level despite obstacles from her own sideline, it forces everyone in that organization to take a hard look in the mirror and ask if they're really doing everything possible to let that greatness breathe. At the end of the day, basketball games get decided on the hardwood, not on a whiteboard. When elite talent, elite basketball IQ, and pure will all come together at the same time, you get nights like this one. A performance people are going to be talking about for a long, long time. Proof that when a true competitor locks in, no defense, no obstacle, and no questionable coaching decision can stop what's coming. The league has officially been put on notice, and everyone is going to be watching closely to see what record falls next. So here's the real question for you. Do you think this was a one-time explosion, or are we watching the start of a permanent shift in this sport? Drop your take in the comments, because this conversation is just getting started. And if you don't want to miss the next unbelievable performance breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because moments like this one don't happen often, and you don't want to be the last one to know when it happens again.